Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend.
Welcome to episode 60 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Town make it back-to-back wins for the first time since November, leaving Lee Bowyer's bottom lip so low it was declared as a trip hazard around HD1. Responding to the opposition fans' heckling, Callum Grant scored twice before Juninho Bacuna did this.
Bacuna shoots, it's an absolute beauty! What a strike from Juninho Bacuna! Bacuna at his best from 25 yards, an absolute net buster from the Dutchman into the top corner.
Coming up this week, we'll reflect on the superb 4-0 win over Charlton and look forward to the next game on the horizon. Let's get going.
Moves in, Jepson's there, Billy in, a goal, Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town.
Back at Rob Edwards, what a goal for Rob Edwards! Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Huddersfield got the chance with Clark to knock it through. This could be a chance to equalise, and they have equalised. And you know who scored it, don't you? It's Jordan Rhodes.
He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the flame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Payne's got a chance. Payne scores. Jack Payne scores. Polita gives it straight to Moy again, who shoots. What a goal, Aaron Moy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia. Oh, where's he going to drop it? But it's in there. Like Kachunga leaves it. Smith scores for Huddersfield Town. 3-2 Town. All three Town it stands. Forestieri, Danny Ward saves! Danny Ward saves! Play down the left and Moy stayed onside. Here's Mounier! 2-0 Huddersfield Town on the opening day of the Premier League. De Quattro's in, Brown De Gea! 2-0 Huddersfield Town! Going to turn it into the pass, yes! And Clement scored! Clement has scored one of the most important goals of Huddersfield Town's history! De Quattro's forward, De Quattro's got the better... Yeah! And Laurent De Quattro scores! Laurent De Quattro scores!
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Okay, so this episode again is sponsored by the brilliant Magic Rock Brewing. We'll be announcing some new events coming up soon at Magic Rock, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. Magic Rock, for me personally, the perfect pre-match venue, covering you for beers, and there's some superb food as well that you can get there pre-match, and it's just a little jaunt away from the stadium as well, so if you've not been to the tap rooms in either Home Firth or Birkby, check them out. This week, back in the hot seat is Richard Kosmala, and today we're throwing out two debuts. Firstly, his magic, you know, it's the blogger formerly known as Terrier Blog, aka Bloggy Potter. It's John McNamara from Northern Ireland. How are you doing, John?
I'm not bad, thanks. How are you?
Very good. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. And then secondly, from closer afield, it's the Andy Takes That Chance feature writer. It's Brady Frost. And good evening to you as well, Brady. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Thanks for having me on. Finally, nagged you enough.
I know, you've been on your knees for the last 12 months begging, haven't you? So I thought, we'll throw the guy a bone and see how he does. So
I'm glad you clarified on the knees there, just for anyone else.
So thank you both for coming on. I know it's late at night, so we appreciate that. And let's get fired in. So you've come on, you've struck gold, struck oil, whatever you've struck. It's Town 4, Charlton 0. Not many games like this. How do you, you're based over in Northern Ireland, aren't you, John, at the moment? So how do you follow the games that I follow, or do you get over every so often? How do you take in the game on a Saturday?
Yeah, so what I tend to do, it's a bit strange, is I actually play football on a Saturday. So I finish up about 4:30, and then I try and not see what the result was, and that doesn't always work. And if it's a good result, I'll watch it back in full on iFollow. If it's a bad result, I'll watch the short highlights and then read all the horrible tweets and make my mind up from that pretty much.
Because Cozzy, you're in a similar sort of situation at the minute. You've had to go out and get a job. You watch it back as well, don't you?
It's interesting, yeah. Well, I'll tell you next Saturday at 5, but I'm there Saturday. But yeah, and it's really interesting what I just said there, because it's so true, because you do read the tweets, the comments, the vitriol. I mentioned last week the Cardiff game out, disaster, this, that and the other, and then you watch it back the next day thinking it wasn't that bad really. So it's really interesting when you're not either A,
your emotions are detached, aren't they?
You haven't had a drink, or B, you're just kind of watching it as it's almost like kind of a scout really. So, but yeah, it's always better though when you put your phone on at 5 o'clock and we've won. And
I can't do that, if I know if I know there's a game going on and it's live, I have to look. I'm obsessed. I have to look. I can't watch it back. My other half, Rachel, she does that sometimes. If we've been out and the England games are on or something, I can't wind it back to the beginning and watch it from the start and not know the score. It's like, it's live sport. I have to know the score. So more power to you guys who can do that, because I can't.
Normally what happens with me is it'll be half time in the game and then someone will shout over from the corner, Huddersfield's getting beat again. And so it gets ruined for me that way. But yeah, what you think of is really interesting, because the Cardiff match, I went on Twitter afterwards, and I think all 11 players were called out for being a disgrace or having a shocker in that match. And I watched it back, and of course there were one or two players that were bad. But if you'd have gone by Twitter, you'd have thought it was the end of all 11 players' careers.
I stay off of Twitter. If we've played badly, I stay off me. I don't put anything. I just kind of detach, because I always think you'll probably say something that a couple of days later when you've calmed down, you'll probably regret putting, and I'm not one to delete tweets either, so it's just one of those things. But Brady, you were there on Saturday as well. How did you see the game? I thought Town were fantastic. I thought, especially the start, we've not criticised, but we've mentioned that we're quite worried about how slowly we start games sometimes, and sometimes we can play ourselves out of a game in the first 20 minutes. But we started brilliantly, started really well, and deserved the goal when it came.
Yeah, I mean, what a difference a week makes, especially after the Swansea game. I think I kind of said when I rang in on the mailbox, like how it was the matter of the defeat, how disappointing that was. But obviously we got the great win against Bristol, and then I thought we started really well. I mean, I thought, as I'm sure we'll go on, I thought Grant was a nuisance, and for the first goal that he scored, yes, Charlton are asleep at the back, but it's good pressing from us. And then after that goal goes in, I just think there's only one winner, and I just thought we were excellent. And it's it's such an important game. It was great to see, and a lot less worried about looking over our shoulder now.
I think the thing that stood out for me, it's got to be our strongest bench for months, for years. Well, exaggeration.
All season.
But Bakuna, Kachunga, Mounier, Pritchard, Kwana, Stankovic, they'd have been in and probably have, maybe arguably first team in August. But wow, that's not a bad bench to change the game. Not that we needed to really, where we played. That's one thing that really stood out. And again, I think it just proves that the January business has been sensational, and it had to be really, because you look how tight it's getting. It's all credit, to the chairman and Danny Carley for landing the targets. And that bench is strong.
Cozzy, a couple of weeks ago, well, not even about a month or so ago, we kind of sat here and you were saying that style of play wasn't it wasn't boring, but it wasn't quite what we wanted in many ways, and we didn't really know where we're going. But you watched the game on Saturday and the game against Bristol City, and all of a sudden it's very front foot, very the pressing from the front, like Brady mentioned, the pressing from the front from Grant for the first goal, Emile Smith-Rowe dropping into pockets. All of a sudden you can kind of see this pattern developing now, can't you? And the way that he wants to play, and you can see with a winger and a proper winger. Kachunga's a striker who's played wide. To be fair to him, you've got Willock now, Chris Willock on the flank, who's coming in, and his interplay is very good. He's 22, but he's a proper winger. You can all of a sudden you can see something happening, and it's much better to watch now, isn't it?
It's very pleasing because the one thing that were always in the back of my mind, because we were winning games, the odd game here and there, but I was thinking I was walking out of the ground thinking we've won, but this is poor. But then you think, well, hang on a minute, we need to stop up by hook or by crook, so we'll take this. But then in my head, I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, no, it's the entertainment business, we pay good money. But then I always thought, he hasn't got his own players in yet. Give it till at least January. And to be honest, I were right. And as long as we stayed up, and even if the football wasn't great, then, I could say it. And then you kind of think, well, is this how Cowley plays? Because obviously he came with a bit of a reputation, if you believe some of the other teams that were involved down there, long ball. And obviously we saw it in the the League Cup early on in the season. But no, it's been really pleasing. And I think from Fulham onwards, where we played some great football, the Swansea game was just a bit of a weird off night, I think. Off day. I felt we went down there to contain, to be honest with you. I hope we don't do that at Ellen Road, which we'll come on to later. But yeah, it's good to watch, and that's what, with the season tickets, obviously on renewal time, that's what we want to see as well. But when you've got Emile Smith Rowe in your lineup, and obviously he's been back in now last couple, and wow, what a player he is. He's just sensational. You'd pay your money just to watch him alone, but Willock's been great, and yeah, there's actually players now you're looking forward to coming to watch, and that is the difference for me. Where I just saw before, you were a lot of more grafting than we're used to seeing it, certainly under Seaver. But I wanted to see a bit more flair for to get me down to the games, and we're seeing that now, and obviously picking up results, and it's brilliant.
John, watching on iFollow from Northern Ireland, how good can you see from the start of the season, how good now, or Noy, as you would say, how good is Lewis O'Brien?
I think Lewis O'Brien's fantastic. I was reading through Twitter earlier, which is kind of sounds like my main source of news. But some of the stats that he's come up with this season are just incredible. I think, like a lot of fans, I always thought of Jonathan Hogg as the enforcer, the linchpin to the midfield, but Lewis O'Brien's kind of, he's outgrown Jonathan Hogg in a way, I think. Not only is he great
would you say it's almost like Hogg 2.0, if you like?
Yeah, because I mean the big criticism with Hogg is that he can only pass the way that he's facing, but Lewis O'Brien can beat a man, he can run into space. I think the only thing that he needs to work on, and it's only a small thing, is his composure in and around the box, either for threading a final pass or shooting. But it's remarkable. I mean, when he was in the team at the beginning of the season, I kind of thought, I haven't seen much of him. He was part of a pretty dire Bradford team the season before. But is this everything that we're going for this season, putting Lewis O'Brien in the starting lineup? But week after week, he's been phenomenal, and he really is a highlight of the season for me.
Cozzy, me and you a little bit, and Brady will bring you in on this as well. So a couple of players who've struggled a couple of months ago were Trevor Chalobah and Christopher Schindler was struggling a bit since as well. We've discussed, but I thought both of them were excellent again and followed it on from Tuesday. So Brady, we'll go to you first. Christopher Schindler, captain of the side, mentally it looked like he'd taken a real sort of dip. That we're hearing not rumours or reports, but that the managers are saying, and he's saying the relegation and the results, have hit him personally very hard. He's taken a lot of it to heart, and you can kind of see mentally at one point he probably wasn't in the best of places. But I think we saw a bit of a renaissance and then a dip, and I think he's coming through again. And for me, Christopher Schindler, the last two games has been excellent, and he's someone we desperately need, Brady, isn't he, in this run to the end of the season?
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's one of the few people from the promotion season left, really, him and Hogg. But I think the reason Schindler's come on for me is, being paired alongside Richard Stearman. I think, obviously, you've kind of talked on the pod how Stankovic has done well and he's gone in there, but he's quite similar to Schindler as like a ball-playing centre-back. But I think Schindler is a lot more confident when he has someone like Stearman next to him, someone who's going to do the dirty work for him. Particularly in the Bristol City game, I thought Stearman was kind of quite calm in the last 5 minutes when we conceded a stupid goal, and then they piled on the pressure and lumped it forward. He was heading stuff away. I think Schindler responds well to that because he can relax knowing that he's got someone who's going to do the dirty work for him, and he can concentrate. Schindler can concentrate on what's good for him, which is playing it out, passing, keeping the game ticking. And it's just great to see. I mean, I know we all bang on about how much we love Schindler, but he's such a good guy and he's done so much for this club. So it's good to see him smiling again.
I think with Shalhoub, though, God, here we go, maybe a bit of an hand grenade, but the one thing that you do pick up on these iFollow, the crowd are still not giving him anything. I get he's never going to be the most sexiest Huddersfield Town player just because of the role that he plays, and I thought he had a really good game again on Saturday, but the crowd affects. If he doesn't pass that ball in that millisecond, there's real aggression towards him.
There's a lack of trust in there.
There is, mate, and I honestly just think it's...
No, not everyone. There's just sections.
No, but it's so frustrating, really, because it's kind of like, come on, we should be like behind him, really, and that as well, and judging him, not what's happened before. He's never going to burst through 3 tackles and score an absolute worldie like Bakuna. That's not his job, although he did score a good goal at Cardiff earlier on. But I just feel that I think people have just made their mind up over him, and it's so frustrating because I think he's playing really well at the moment. And obviously Johnny Hogg did see him today at this development game. He didn't have the boot on because I think Mel Booth put that. He was at the game on Saturday and had a boot on. So, but he wasn't kind of involved in the training and all the training gear. So he's going to be out for a little while. This guy, I think he's enjoying the role that he's got and, kicking us forward. But I do feel people just waiting for an error from him to get on his back. And I don't know, it frustrates me.
Do you think it's because he's not our player and people don't seem... I
just think because he takes his time, he's not an urgent kind of footballer, is it? He's not Lewis O'Brien. That is the thing. I think if he were
quite laid back, like Philip Billing, Town fans don't like laid back midfielders, do they?
No, they don't. You could probably bring up a few over the years to kind of point out there.
And the like.
Yeah, it's just frustrating, but going back to as he played well, 100%. The last 2 games he's been really, really good, and he's going to have to be on his A game on Saturday.
I like him. I think people forget he's 20 years old as well. It's only really his second proper season, isn't it? Playing men's football. It doesn't look like it. I think part of it is he's like 6'2", 6'3", and he looks like he could bench press all 4 of us put together, don't he? He's a strong lad.
Someone's got to do that job, though, haven't they? We can't all bomb forward like Bakuna and.
But he looks a different player and Stephen Chicken's pointed this out on the podcast before as well, that you play a 4-2-3-1 and all of a sudden Trevor Chalobah's lifting his head and he's got somebody ahead of him to pick out. Before in the 4-3-3 he was expected to pick his head up. He would have a striker marked and then he would have to sort of carry the ball or run with the ball, and it wasn't really his strength. But I think we now start seeing the player that Ipswich had in the second half of last season, who was Ipswich's best player. Admittedly, Ipswich went down, didn't go very well, but he was their best player in the second half of last season, and I'm pleased that he's turning it round as well. So hopefully Trevor Chalobah keeps up the good work, and if he carries on like this, I'd be all for getting him back next year as well.
Guys, what are we thinking about Willock? The one thing that really impresses with me, he seems to have a real football brain. There were times on Saturday where he were kind of, clear, but he was slowing the play down to wait for other people to join the attack. He's a real thinking player.
Balance. He's got balance.
I mean, God, this is maybe having a go at Van La Parra, but when he was in our wing, you didn't know what was going to happen. I don't think he had the brains, to be honest with you, but I think this guy is...
He was a playground player, this Van La Parra.
He's only going to get better with games, and he really does give us something that we have not had, and to me, it'll be really interesting on Saturday, because obviously Leeds is a different kettle of fish, but Kachunga's been out, Willock's come in, and the Town going forward look a different gravy, really.
What do you think, John, from seeing him? To me, Willock looks sort of 60% fit, so I don't think we're going to see the best out of him until he plays more games, personally. I think he's done very well, don't get me wrong, he's done very well with the sort of 60% fitness. He looks like 60% match fitness that he looks like he is, and he'll get better. But how have you seen it from over there?
I think with Willock, there's a real big difference in the team, because as much as we do like Kachunga for his effort, well, I personally like him for his effort and everything he's done for the club, I think a fullback's more than happy to just give the ball to Kachunga and say, like, you run at me, try and beat me, I'll win the ball back off you. But Willock's just got something about him where I won't say terrifies a fullback, but he makes them think, which just drag other players over. And as you were saying, Cosy, as well, he has got that footballing brain to slow things down, to pick a pass as well. So I think it's really good to see a genuine attacking threat on the wings for Town, because we haven't seen that for so long, certainly for this season. But going to the Leeds game, I don't know if it'll be more of an impact, and if Danny Cowley's going to want to go for Kachunga from the off just because of his workmanlike capability. But let's not forget Leeds are probably the fittest team in the division, and Kachunga's a marathon runner effectively. So I think we could see Kachunga for the majority of the game, and then Willett coming on to kind of try and exploit some gaps.
The way him and Smith Rowe linked up, I mean, there were that chance that we had where I think the ball was played too far, to be honest, in front of him, and keeper kind of came right out and smothered it. But they've really found a connection, them two guys, and
both Arsenal youngsters.
Yeah, and they both just look like guys to me who's not played hardly any football, senior football for a long time. They're just enjoying playing football. I mentioned it last week. I think they're enjoying what they're doing, and you can't put a price on that. Where sometimes Kachunga looks like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. These are just two young boys who are happy to be playing at a good level for a team that's on the up at the moment.
So at the end of the game, when they did the wave came back at the end of the game, and Chris Willock was right in the middle of it, and he pretty much swept off his feet as well. And it's just like this massive grin on his face, at the end of the game, and he definitely looks like he's enjoying himself.
You see the bench when Bakuna's willed it. We were on Smith Rowe, we're nearly on. He's honestly, loving it, isn't he? He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant.
He's fantastic. And a good thing as well is we saw the lesser spotted Alex Pritchard as well, who came on and he played a key point. He made a key contribution in the second goal as well. And like you say, the squad and the depth is getting better as we go on. And Emil Smith Rowe now, we can look at him. He's been our top performer in the last couple of weeks, and all of a sudden now we can look after him properly and rotating Alex Pritchard. And Alex Pritchard, to say he's not played for going on 4, 5, 6 months, he looked pretty sharp when he came out. He didn't pace wise, he wasn't quite there, but on the ball, turn, pirouette, and lay off, he was quite sharp. So things are coming together hopefully. And what I'll do now is I've got a nice red flashing button on my box unit here, so I'll play the mailbox from what the other Town fans have thought from the weekend's game as well.
Your call cannot be taken at dial.
No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Where did it start with that match?
So disappointed.
I enjoyed the pie. That pie was really nice.
I actually think the performance was that bad.
So let's just look forward to the next game.
Hi guys, it's Brady Frost, one of the writers for Any Takes That Chance. And it just feels great to talk about a win like this. What a win, what an end to the week. We had 8 shots on target compared to Charlton's 2. I thought Grant was a nuisance. Yes, Charlton are asleep at the back, but again, that's good pressure for our first. And then I just felt from then there was only one winner. Grant shushing the Charlton fans there as well. Nice to see there's no love lost. I thought Charlton were awful, really. I know you've got to beat what is in front of you, but I can't really think of them having many chances apart from Cullen blazing over and some pressure in the second half. I think Mounier and Bakuna changed the game, added real attacking threat to us, and you've got to say Bakuna's goal, wow, unreal. And I know I'm probably running over time here, so apologies, Matt, but I just want to make this important point that I saw on Twitter. Apologies, I can't remember who mentioned it, so feel free to have a go at me afterwards. But if you start the table after Cowley's first point against Millwall, a game which I felt we should have won, obviously there was Grabara's mistake, we'd be 6th in the league. Obviously that's not how tables work, and we need 8 more points to hit that magic 50-point mark. But put it this way for me, if we have another transfer window like we did in January, I'm so excited for the next season under the Cowleys, and if we get some great players to add and keep some important ones, I just think it's going to be such an exciting season. And how long have we been able to say that as Town fans? Leeds next. Obviously, can we frustrate them? I don't know, but I think it's going to be a close game. But fingers crossed.
Wow, what a difference a week makes in the life of a Huddersfield Town supporter. 2 great back-to-back wins and consistent performances. The lads started the game with the same intensity, pace and intent as they finished on Tuesday, constantly building pressure into Charlton's half and dominating that first half of play. Karlan Grant back to his best and clearly had a point to prove after the abuse he got from Charlton fans after the away fixture, although they've been left feeling even saltier after yesterday. High pressing led to first of Karlan's goals, and then it was great to see his trademark trick of cutting on the inside for his second and Town's third. Although Town dominated that first half, the second half was really nervy and Charlton had a good 15 to 20 minute spell on the front foot. Town weathered that storm and the impact subs came on. Bakuna causing mischief and creating some great chances with a wonder goal at the end. Mounier comes on and within less than a minute gives us that second goal lead with a magnificent cross from Toffolo. Got to credit Toffolo as he was once again immense, not only offensively but defensively as well, to deny Charlton the equaliser. Hard to pick out a standout performance. The group worked selflessly as a team. With Mounier being in the form that he is, it is hard not to argue that he should be starting. But as Danny Cowley called them, he and Campbell make a strike partnership, with Campbell wearing down the defence for Mounier to come on and just finish them off. On reflection, that's been working really well. I thought Chalobah had a good match again. He reminds me of Billing in the way he strides across the pitch like a gazelle. And finally, Lewis O'Brien is just that, Lewis O'Brien, and what a machine. What's great now is that the lads really seem to be enjoying their football again. It's been a joy to watch and they seem solid as a team, and they celebrate as one. You can see the joy they have with their own teammates when they do well. And again, I think that's really shown in their social media at the end. There's a lot of joy in the place at the moment. That was a great result, great scoreline, and we can go into next week's derby with plenty of optimism, and why not?
Graham Rayner here, part-time comedian, full-time Town fan, just reflecting on a 4-0 win against Charlton, which was much needed to lift the mood in the region after the shocking news of Leeds player being convicted of racism. So with that in mind, it was really refreshing to welcome Lee Bowyer's Charlton to the Town yesterday, and you know, hard lines to them. They've got a tough season ahead. I did listen to Lee Bowyer's post-match interview, and let's just say it's nice to see he's still smoking whatever he's smoking, if he thinks that they had 5 or 6 good chances and could have won the game. And I just wish them well. I'm sure next week when he goes up to Middlesbrough, regardless of the result in that crucial 6-pointer, him and his former teammate Jonathan Woodgate will let bygones be bygones and maybe go out clubbing after the game. Not sure what could go wrong, and pretty sure it'll be majestic. Cheers, I'll check in again soon. Bye.
G'day boys, Adelaide Terry here. All I've got to say is bring on the champions of Europe. What a display on Saturday, or Sunday morning for me. I've not slept that well after a match for a long, long time. It was fantastic. No real negative points. I thought everybody had a fantastic game, from the keeper all the way through to the strikers. Outstanding points. Toffolo was excellent down the left. Chabola again did well. Smith, yeah, shame he was injured and played, but still I think he had a credible account. Willock was a little bit quiet. Campbell ran his socks off. That's in the middle there. O'Brien again ran his socks off. Some great passing and some fantastic tackling. The goals, yeah, a little bit of luck with Mounier's, but again in the right place at the right time. That's great to see. Karlan Grant, yeah, looked sharp. Lossell, 2 great saves. And I've got to say, for once, when we were under the rack a little bit in the second half, we rallied through and got through that, and then pushed on and got the 3 goals, which was pretty exciting. Stearman was pretty just as normal now, just steady away, and same with Schindler. So no, I think the only thing I'm going to say really, the bad thing I suppose, was Pritchard. He came on, yeah, it's his first game for a long time, didn't do anything, but when he got the ball, it's still the same square pass going backwards. He hasn't got that same touch as Emile Smith has. I just love to know who scouted him. And anyway, that's the only negative, I'm sorry. But apart from that, great. Looking forward to Sunday morning next week. And I think we've got a real chance. We'll hopefully give them a good game. Bye for now. Cheers. Bye.
Hi, it's Jodie here, just back to Sheffield after a very enjoyable game. Just about thawed out. What a fantastic performance, and a thoroughly deserved 3 points. what a week it's been. I think, to be fair, the scoreline probably should have been closer to that midweek, but it's really nice to get a clean sheet this time. I think we deserved it. And what an impact the subs bench made. It just shows how much the squad depth has improved when you're bringing on the likes of Pritchard, Bacuna and Mounier. And Bacuna just seems to get better and better every game. What a goal. The link-up play between our attacking players is just a delight to watch at the moment, and I think it's creating that buzz and excitement that we've all been craving for so long. And then the celebrations on the pitch, wow, just shows how much this means to all the players and what an amazing team spirit there is in the camp now, and I think that's so much credit to the Cowleys. Bring on Leeds next week.
Hi everyone, this is Sivan John from Malaysia. In my last voicemail, I did mention that I hope to see the team continuing the good momentum from the Swansea game. Well, not only they did just that, but they've also upped the tempo this time. It was just buzzing from the get-go. I mean, we were dominating in every aspect and deservingly to take the lead into halftime. But when the second half resumed, I can see a similar pattern where even though we are keeping a lot of possession, making an attempt at goal, but we seem to be allowing Charlton to have the opportunity to sneak back in the game. They had a few chances where they could have just levelled the score, but it was all one way down in the last 15 minutes of the game. I believe that it was our substitution that was the turning point of this game, because both Alex and Juninho rejuvenated our attack, and when Mooney came in, I just felt it was only a matter of time before we would break Charlton's tired defence. It took Mooney just 1 minute to double our lead, and right from then on, I just knew that 3 points is secured. Harry Toffolo was a beast on the left side, played like a typical Brazilian fullback, running up and down the flanks. And I kind of felt that, the link with Grant was the key in our attack. And then speaking of Brazilian, it doesn't get any more Brazil than that wonderful goal from our Brazilian namesake, Juninho. Such a subtle and elegant shot from outside the box. Has to be the championship goal of the week. No arguments here. And 80% accuracy in our passing, 8 shots on target, scoring 4 of them. Well, I would say this is arguably our best game of the season so far. Next up, Bielsa's Leeds. I say, bring them on.
Please hang up.
Right, okay, so thank you to everybody who sent in their thoughts from the mailbox.
Just want to put in, Charlton, what a horrible, horrible team. Honestly, they complained about everything when they had no right to complain. That Hemed, right dirty sod who came on at the end, sorry for my language, but he's always has been and always will be. I remember his battles when he was at Brighton. Boy, yeah, I've not obviously, you know what I mean? They just represent what he is, really. I just thought they were horrible.
I'm going to cut you off there because I think this links nicely onto the danger zone.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Absolute danger, this fella.
Revving up your engine, listen to a howling roar.
Is it Jan Sievert in the crowd, a possible David Wagner successor?
Metal under tension, begging you to touch and go.
Send out Patrick Davidson to find out.
Highway to the danger zone.
Mark Saggers, Whopper.
Right into the danger zone.
Adrian Durham, absolute Whopper.
Heading into twilight, spreading.
You can't tell me Eddie Howe won't be keeping tabs on us. Hashtag SWFC.
Because I've watched your match of the day, and trust me, I think you might as well take up archery at times.
Highway to the danger zone.
Golden parachute catch.
Take you right into the danger zone.
Piss off, Huddersfield. How dare you? How actually dare you?
Right, Cosy, Lee, the Belen Bowyer, again. It's just before the game. We did the, me and Ian Dunn did the Love Sport phone in on Friday, and the question from Matt Beadle on Love Sport is, why is Lee Bowyer complaining about 24 extra hours rest? Lee, Saturday, midweek Saturday, it's still 3 games in those 7 days. Whether you have your day on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, it doesn't matter. You have an extra day's rest for your midweek game. You know, it's all the same. Stop making excuses before the game's even kicked off. And the second goal is complaining about handball. Lee, look at the replay. It hits Mounier square in the chest. It's in. And then he's saying they had 4, 5, 6 great chances, and had they scored and equalised, they'd have won the game. And it's just like, it just sounds like a man who's severely under pressure.
Well, like you said, the same, didn't he, when we won at the Valley with Matty Daly, and the same rubbish were coming out. And
the guy's a chud. I just don't like him, I'll be honest. But diving, guys, I'm going to sit back. You guys diving.
We've done it before with Ross McCormack. We booed someone, Dean Windass. We booed him, and it's bit us on the backside. So it were really nice on Saturday.
Dean Windass were all right. That was good. That was decent because he'd give it back. And
I enjoyed it. But we could name other players where we've got after them for the connections. But as soon as they started getting after Carl and Grant, it's like, extra motivation, I think, because obviously he got that horrible, was it Instagram message? So he was
had all sorts of comments,
he was fired up. Some ridiculous comments. Wow, did he ram it?
I love that how he shushed them as well. I just thought, do you know what? They're sat there, they're singing songs which I won't mention for legal reasons about maybe what about some things in the past, and do you know what? And then as soon as he shushed them, like bottles came flying in from the top, and I just thought, do you know what I mean? If this is one of the things, it's when you go back to the Ross McCormack thing, because I sang it when we were at Elland Road, and then he came and celebrated in front of us, and it's just like, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair
play.
It's pantomime. You know what I mean? If you give it, you take it. And the Charlton, I like Charlton as a football club, to be honest. There's a lot to like about them, but I thought their treatment of a guy who dragged them up from League One was pretty poor.
But it's set from the top. Boy, it's just like poisoning him with just some ridiculous comments. They were good to lose him, but whether or not they thought we were going to be Premier League for much longer, whatever, it's not the point. We were in the Premier League and they were League One. He's going to move. It doesn't matter what you think, whether the Shield's bigger club or what have you. We were Premier League.
Bournemouth, people are going to Bournemouth. Bournemouth's probably the smallest club in the top 2 divisions,
Exactly.
but people
just
are going.
deal with it, man. What an absolute
sigh. Anyway,
I tell you what, I want to bring up another thing in that as well. I tweeted it on Saturday night on Steve Mounier. There was no way in God's earth I thought he'd be here past January. But what I'm seeing now is a guy who's giving absolutely everything for the shirt. He's doing brilliant stuff off the pitch. His tweets, everything in social media is positive. Big smile on his face. He's loving what he's doing, and he's kind of working well at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of debate whether you'd start with Mounier or Campbell and what have you, but we seem to be running Campbell. Campbell's running his socks off, if not kind of scoring what we the goals we
other
want.
people's socks off as well. He seemed nudge someone over the barrier, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, but what Steve Mounier, all of a sudden, I've got some massive respect for the guy, because while we've the Zankas of this world, down tools, and some of the other weapons that we can mention, this guy is just like really giving.
He's a smart, educated guy as well as Steve Mounier.
He's not probably worth 40 million. What did we pay for him? But
11ish.
11ish. But I just love his attitude at the moment, and it's
He's
not
top man.
Yeah, he's absolutely
top guy.
brilliant. And honestly, I'd love so much for him to get a goal or a winner at Elland Road on Saturday, because he just deserves it. I love what he's doing.
I think he lives in Leeds, so he'd probably love that as well. But
yeah.
He is at the minute, since he scored his first goal this season, which I think was the header against Nottingham Forest, he's now averaging a goal every 91 minutes. He's Steve Mounier.
Well, yeah. Well, I think when the Cowleys first joined, obviously I agree with you, Cosy. Like, I wasn't sure if Mounier was going to stay, but hearing other fans like Lincoln fans and talking how Cowleys like to play, Mounier is kind of perfect for that big lad up front, and it just makes me really excited for next season, really. Obviously I know there's talk of Grant going in the summer, and with Smith Rowe, we're not sure if we're going to keep him on, but I think Mounier, this is kind of, I think would be a top championship player, as he's been showing, really. And I think a full season, full pre-season with Cowleys, and I think he could, go on and bang goals in left, right, and centre. This might be a bold prediction, but I think if he stays and Cowleys back him, I think he could get 20 goals next season. And I know that sounds crazy to say, probably in November, but I think it's a real possibility.
Not on his current stats, it's very possible.
I loved his goal on Saturday. I mean, I tried to slow it down a few times on that slow-mo you get on the. It would hard to. It seemed to hit the top of the shoulder and
it's square in the chest. I'm saying.
At real time, I thought you didn't feel it was an handball, but I think the keeper was clutching at straws, really. Yeah. But sod them. There was a set of muppets. But yeah, Steve Mounier, and Campbell. It seems to be working well at the moment. That kind of situation, and what a win it was. It was just honestly, we were saying, weren't we, last week? Could we, use it as a launch pad? We've had a few of these before, haven't we? Where we've had a nice win, and you're thinking, come on, kick on, and we've just
We're
like won,
inconsistent,
lost,
aren't we?
yeah.
Yeah, we're
But
very
wow, this was different class, and obviously icing on the cake goals 3 and 4 in 89, and we've got to talk about that goal. That's God, how much publicity we've seen that.
Bacunas.
It's incredible.
What would you say is best though? Because I like technical players. I like Juninho Bacuna. And Simon, who's not on the podcast, I think he's
yes,
hiding.
Where are you?
I think he's hiding this week. So he gave Bacuna.
I had the played at the podcast back the other week in the dressing room before. But yeah.
But me and you have always liked him, haven't we? And been fans of Bacuna.
Without his contributions, we'd be in the bottom 3. I'm telling you.
What do you think was best though? The shot, the long distance shot for number 4, or his interplay on the third goal where he's dived in on the third? It's great skill, and the ball he plays to Karlan Grant is excellent. And Karlan Grant's first touch there is outstanding, isn't it? But
it's got to be the pass for the third goal. But I mean, I'm not going to say anyone can score a goal like he scored for the fourth, because I certainly couldn't. But we have seen players wallop him in from distance before. But the third goal, the way that he just drags the player across the length of the pitch and then just plays that beautiful ball inside the. It's brilliant. That shows a real footballing brain. And you watch a lot of Championship teams, and they don't have players like Juninho Bacuna. So, if we can get him playing 90 minutes every week, getting concentrated, then in tight games, he'll be the difference for us. He's fantastic, I think.
We always say, don't we? We've got this, John, we've got this 4-2-3-1 system that we're playing. And we always have this discussion, where does he fit in? And it's like, does he play in the double pivot? And it's like, he's not quite a number 10. He's not quite a wide player. He's a complete maverick, isn't he? That you kind of just throw on in an area and he just causes mayhem.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Where do you play him? And I think that's been borne out. We've seen him play pretty much everywhere apart from centre back and goalkeeper. But I think maybe when the Cowleys have they're very organised management duo, but when they maybe have a full pre-season and they've got all the players that they want, perhaps they can afford to just kind of throw Bacuna in wherever, and the lesser parts of his game, the things that he's not so good at, will be made up for by the passes for that third goal, beating a man, scoring from range. So hopefully next season it can be our luxury player,
I think Danny Simpson was asked in the press conference whether they'd been offered or been talked about for a new deal yet, because obviously he's only to the end of the season. He said nobody wants to stay. Would you guys? I'm assuming he'd be on some good cash because he could call the shots. We were desperate for a right back, and he's obviously played and paid at the top level. Would you want him back for season 2021?
It's a difficult one, really. I think, like you say, when Simpson first came in, he did improve our defence no end. But I mean, to be fair, he's been a better last couple of games. But when he came back from his injury, it wasn't quite the same. And he is quite old, and I think if there's an opportunity.
Thanks for that.
Well, yeah, that's all right, Matt. No worries. Yeah, I think if we have the opportunity, I mean, it's not, if we have the opportunity to get someone who's a bit younger, I would potentially go for it. I mean, that's no disrespect to Simpson. I think he's done us a real favour. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think it depends. I think there's other priorities for us in the summer, but if the opportunity comes up for another right back, I would probably take it.
Go on, John, you can go in next.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a case of he's a good, solid, dependable right back, and yes, we could probably go out and get somebody better, but as you said, Brady, I don't particularly see right back as a big glaring hole in the team like it was before Simpson came in. I do think it'd be useful to keep him around the squad as well, because he's experienced. He's won the Premier League, and you could see the effect that he had on the defence just through his organisational skills when he first came in. So even if he's not going to be playing 35 plus games next season, I think it's still a good idea to keep him around the squad. And if we don't manage to recruit a better right back, then I'm not that worried, to be honest. Yeah, I think he's a good, solid right back.
I know we talked about the results last week, but honestly, West Brom 0, Wigan.
Hang on. You've not said whether you keep him yet, Cosy. Avoiding that.
I don't think I would do, and I agree with what was said just there. I don't think his performances since the injury has kind of, been up to the standard that we've seen before. To be honest with you, some of his passing's a bit. Although to be fair, there was some nice crossing there at the weekend. But yeah, obviously we don't see what people are getting paid. But he must be on some good coin. He probably would lower his demands, but. I'm just thinking, are there better out there really? But yeah, obviously he's a good guy to have around the squad. Yeah, I'm not good. It's
a tough one. I think after Swansea last week, I'd have gone no.
Yeah,
but after the 2 games, and he's got forward.
Yeah, he has. And his crossing's been good. To be fair, in these 2 games,
I'm now kind of like softening. I think Brady hit the nail on the head for me. But I think if you remove sentiment, then I'd be happy with how they judged his fitness and how it would be if he had a pre-season over next year and make a decision. But it's a tough one, isn't it? But I'm 50-50 at the minute. But I do like the guy a lot, and I think he's added a lot on and off the field.
Oh, Wigan. Sorry, where are Wigan getting this form
Wigan
from?
are the best side in this league at the
Josh
minute.
Windass, see you later. We'll send him to Wednesday. He was absolutely stinking the place out. He's put them a total jinx, and the way it's going, they'll probably be swapping places soon. But what a scoreline that was on Saturday. Incredible.
They've actually got some decent players. When you look at Wigan's 11, they've actually got a couple of decent players. Williams, who plays in midfield, is a good player. That was at Everton. Kipre, the centre-back who came, I think, from Motherwell, he's quite a good player. Robinson, who almost went to AC Milan, still there. I don't think he's playing at the minute. I think, is it the ex-Leeds youngster, Pierce, playing left-back? But Gary Roberts is starting, and I watched Reading versus Wigan, and Gary Roberts at 35 years old was decent. He played. I was really happy for him actually, because he was one of my favourites sort of when he played before. But yeah, and do you know, I watched Reading and Wigan, and Kiefer Moore's always been someone I've thought should be decent at this level and could bang goals in, and finally he's doing it. And when I watched Reading versus Wigan were clearly the better team, and they actually looked decent. And I was like, damn, these guys they're not going down if they play like this from now to the end. They're staying up quite comfortably.
Obviously, they won at Ellen Road. Hopefully, we can follow them on Saturday. But yeah, I just want to have a little, shout out to my friend, Mr. G Monk. Are you listening, Gary? So when you beat us in August, mate, I remember being in the box with Neil, and there were 1 or 2 people echoing him, and he were proper giving it large to the fan base.
Speaking of pricks.
Yeah, he was giving it large to the few people who were out and about when he were doing his Sky interviews. Big, kind of millstone around his neck, wasn't it, with the Wagner thing? Honestly, they're in absolute free fall. And he said after the game, it's the worst bit of his management career that he's been in at the moment, because he sounds like a guy to me who's got no idea. You know what? I'm loving it, man.
You sound sympathetic to Gary Monk there.
Oh, get them points off him as well, and then it could be a right effort down there, couldn't it? But yeah,
if they get a points deduction, I'm really worried about them, because
I'm not worried.
Like they're just, well, I'm not worried, but Monk's such a tool, but they're in terrible form, and I think I just can't see him, because I don't. Would it be 9 points? That's the kind of
the benchmark, isn't it? That they kind of. The thing is, though, even though they give them 9 points, they've done a bit more than what Birmingham did last year. I don't know the ins and outs, so please don't sue me. But I think Chansiri, the owner, has got 3 businesses that he's been using to essentially invest in, but these 3 companies don't trade, so they don't actually earn money to put into Sheffield Wednesday. And one of them is a taxi firm that doesn't exist, apparently, called D's Taxis. So the EFL have got onto that. And for me, the question is, it's getting towards the end of the season. Do the EFL have the balls to bring them in now? This is the major $1 million question.
You're on about teams out of form. Hull City are in absolute dire straits. I can hear Mark Knopfler on his guitar playing a few tunes. They're in massive trouble. I think the good thing is that us and Wigan have got a little bit of momentum. We're showing some signs of life. I think Charlton were awful on Saturday. Stoke, I can't work out. We mentioned it before, when they beat us, I expected them to be top half. Not at all. Middlesbrough, to be fair, they deserve to win on Monday against Nottingham Forest.
How crap were Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, they're shocking. Honestly,
everyone's slating.
How crap were Diacabe?
Yeah, but they were all rubbish, I thought. Forest.
Yeah, he got some stick. As much as it pains me to say it, and we'll probably come on to the game in a second, but I think Leeds are there. West Brom. I can't see.
Yeah,
the others are shocking, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Fulham's running's horrendous.
I would say Fulham, on paper, have the best team in this league.
Their
But
running's
they're
shocking.
just such an average manager. Such an average manager is Scott Parker. I think they're this. I think I've said this about every week, but I think they are this year's West Brom from last year, whereby they've kept a manager out of sentiment because of his playing career at the club, and I think it'll cost them. And I think he'll go next season when they fail.
West Brom and Leeds,
Mark
easily
that down,
the best
Fulham
two
fans, for when you go up.
They deserve West Brom and Leeds, best two teams, but they shouldn't be allowed a team from the playoffs. That should be it. Two up and no one else goes up because everyone else.
You're all crap,
honestly, they're garbage, aren't they? Everyone
I
else.
would like Preston. I think. Do you know what? Do you know when? I know this is a little bit sentimental and a little bit daft, but do you know, everyone, like, we had our day in the sun, didn't we, in the Premier League? Burnley have had too many days in the sun. Bournemouth the same, and Wigan have had their day. I just feel like Preston deserve a go. They deserve a taste. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I tipped them at the start.
I like that football club.
They were there, weren't they? Yeah.
I think they're a decent football club, and I think that as supporters, they've seen their rivals, pretty much every rival, Blackburn, Burnley, Blackpool. They've seen everyone around them have a go at the Premier League, and they're kind of just sat there. And I don't think they've been in the top team since the 1950s, maybe. So I think they're long overdue. So I hope Preston go up. That's me being a football sentimentalist.
I went to see the elite development teams today. Otherwise, I'll have to watch Loose Women on a morning, or this Philip Schofield and what have you, and that as well. But wow, I'd come across a striker. I don't want to get carried away. I don't think he's ours, Matt. You were saying, guy called Kieran Phillips just scored 3 goals today.
He's on loan from Everton, but he
looked really good, man.
Kieran Phillips was with Huddersfield. He's a Huddersfield lad. He was with Huddersfield until I think under 13s, 14s. I think I might have told this story a few weeks ago. So if anyone's done it, switched off, so you can switch off. But essentially, he was a Huddersfield academy player till about 13, 14. He was seen as one of the top 3 stars in the academy at that time, with Jordan Williams, and I can't quite remember who the other one was. But there were like 3 marked. It might have been Rickeel Pike, actually. But there were 3 marked for, first team, and he was one of them. And then they went to Finch Farm at Everton, and he scored 6 goals in a game against Everton. I think they won something like 8-2, 8-3 or something. And pretty much, I'm not accusing Everton of tapping up, because I don't have the money to stick up for myself, if they take me to court. But apparently by the time they got out of the car park, Everton were very much putting the wheels in motion on him. So we lost him to Everton quite young, and I think Mark Lillis at the time was quite upset about that. But funny how football works. He's back.
Yeah,
after
2 of his
a serious
goals.
knee injury. I think it's a serious knee injury is why he's
2 of his goals in a 6-yard box, like kind of Michael Owen finishes Fox in the box kind of thing. And then one of the goals, it was great, a little through ball. I think it was from Aaron Rowe, could be wrong. And then burst the pace, got past the last defender, and beautiful finish. And he did stand out.
He reminds me of a little bit of Ollie McBurney at the same age.
Yeah.
When it's sort of that rangy, kind of gangly. Ollie McBurney's filled out a bit more now, but he's got a lot about him. He's very direct, isn't he? And when I watched the under 20, I think not quite under 23s, but it's like the EDT against Liverpool in the cup the other week. He came. Pike started, and Pike was poor, to be honest. And Kieran Phillips came on, and he was an immediate improvement. And if I'm in that Huddersfield Town Academy, I'm trying to sign Kieran Phillips at the end of the season. I think he's out of contract as well.
Yeah, it looks good. Good to see Camille Guerrero back as well. It's a bit of a weird one at the moment, because he's never really going to get back in, is he? You would think now, but someone was saying, I don't know why we're keeping him back. I think it's a bit harsh, isn't it, just to send him back to Liverpool? He's got a concussion injury.
Well, the thing is, if you send him back, we'd have to pay. I think we have to pay.
Yeah.
I think it's contracted
Look
that you'd have
after
to
your
pay.
players, don't
and
you?
if Jonas Losel
Yeah.
gets injured and you send him back, then you look a right set of idiots, don't you?
Absolutely. D'Amico Danis got an absolute belter, by the way, just kind of just the edge of the box into top bins. It was brilliant. Jayden Brown were poor. I had high hopes with him. Started the season quite well, but again, he had that injury and he's not come
down, isn't it?
It's based it on one performance.
It was decent against Liverpool. It was the other way around against Liverpool. Jayden Brown was decent, and Dehaney was really poor.
Mr. H. Bockhorn was there. But again, Huddersfield Town winning 4-0 in a game. I'm getting fed up of it these days. But no, a good win, and big game Saturday. Not a seat to be had. Are they opening top tier up this time at Leeds for these games, or what? How does it work now?
Who are you talking to?
Everyone. Yeah, anyone wants to listen. I saw a photo a few years ago. I remember going, top tier won't open, wasn't it? But
the away end, do you mean, or the?
Yeah, but obviously all town.
I'm in the top tier.
Yeah, obviously town fans. Only we filled it when it were Premier League, but we're not good fans. But yet Leeds, obviously Leeds till we die, they didn't even up at top tier a few years ago. Now everyone wants to be there, don't they? I wonder why. Are they doing well or something?
I know, it's fickle.
Honestly, mate, they can never have a go at us because no one used to come about 4 years ago, but now all of a sudden everyone's Leeds, aren't they?
Boycotting 4 years
Amazing.
ago. They were boycotting over the owners 4 years ago. But funnily enough, they had the same owner when they're in the playoffs and got 20,000 more, but there you go.
Honestly. Can we do it in this game? The only thing I'd say that the last 2 home games, we played, 2 sides have been poor, haven't we, really? And it is away. They're the form team in the division. Look at the stats. But we go there with a lot of heart, don't we? What do you reckon, guys?
This is something that I've done a wee bit of research on for just to, book the trend. But Leeds have been beaten 3 times at home all season, and they've lost to Wigan, Sheffield Wednesday, and Swansea. Now, only one of them are a good team. And in all 3 of those games, Leeds have had over 60% possession. Against Wigan, they had 77% possession and still lost 1-0. So I think the blueprint of how to go there and beat them is very, very obvious.
Sit
back. Shithouse them, yeah, perfectly, like we did at Brentford away. And, if you believe everything you hear about the Cowleys, if you've, watched a couple of our games as well under them this season, you'll know that they're quite adept at shithousing. So we just need to go there and say, yeah, that's right, you just take the ball down the wings, cross it into Bamford, it'll miss from 6 yards. We'll play a few long balls over the top.
3 now you've said that, isn't it?
Probably, yeah. But yeah, just play long balls over the top. Mounier, flick him on, get Callum Grant in. We'll have 2 shots on target, beat him 1-0, 2-0. Happy days.
We're not going to see much of the ball, are we? They keep the ball very well. We're going to be chasing a lot, aren't we?
Go on, John. You're in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is I kind of mentioned it earlier about going for Kachunga to be more workmanlike. The problem is if we do go there and we try and play them, then logically we'll get beaten because individually and collectively they are a better team than us. So we do have to go there and try and play to our strengths. So in the first game we played them, I was over for that one. It's very obvious what we're trying to do. We used Steve Mounier as a bit of a battering ram, and ultimately we came up short. But if you look at our squad that day, it wasn't great. I mean, we had about 4 12-year-olds on the bench, Now we've got a much better squad, and we can still play that way, and we can take advantage of some of the moments that we had in that first game and potentially get something out of the game. And I know that if we do get beaten and we play that way, the fans will probably kick off and say, oh, we should have had a go. But I think we need to be pragmatic about this and just accept, as hard as it is to accept that they are a better team than us, and we're just going to have to fight and shit out it, really. Hope that we come out of there with a draw of 3 points.
Can we go with the same team I'd love us to play the same team that we played against Charlton, or am I being very naive? Because the one thing I don't want to see is what I thought we saw at Swansea, where a point's a good result. We didn't show much ambition. I want to see what we saw at Derby and Fulham after half an hour, where we had no choice really because we were being battered at. I want to go there. We've got some players that can really hurt them. Look at the starting line, look at the bench. But back of my mind, but I'm thinking we're not going to see much of the ball. But they'd rather, let's be honest, on the team sheet, they'd rather see Willock. I don't think they'll be worrying about him anyway, whoever it is. But they'd rather see a Willock than a Kachunga, wouldn't there? Or a Smith Rowe than a King. I mean, I don't know whether they'd be fit, but I want us to be really positive on Saturday. Or am I just being a bit naive and on the back of 2 wins against 2 poor sides?
I understand that. My concern is that Town have not put what you would call a 90-minute performance in yet this season. I think to beat Leeds United, you have to put in a 90-minute performance. Town, I think, are as good. I probably got wearing blue and white rose tinted glasses when I say this, but in short spells, Town, 10, 15, 20 minutes, Town can be as good as anyone in this league in very short spells, with, your Smith Rowes, your Grants and Mouniers, etc. But over 90 minutes, we're inconsistent from game to game, but we're inconsistent within games as well. And my main worry is that we could play well and we could hold them and we can match them for 30, 40, 50 minutes. But that 10, 15, 20-minute spell where we switch off, that's where they'll do us. And that's the main concern. Town are 10-1 to win the game, which is great odds for a shock. If you like that sort of thing, can we beat them? Yes, we can beat anyone in this league. Will we beat them? That depends on if we can put in a 90-minute performance.
How would you set out, Matt? What would you do?
I agree with John. I'd play Kachunga, but this is because
Willock?
I'd play Kachunga over Willock because they raid a lot from left back, so they'll have either Alioski or Dallas. They play a winger there, and they get forward a lot. And Willock, to me, doesn't look 100%, so I would imagine he'll struggle to do the constant tracking. That's where Kachunga's quite key. Whereas Grant, we saw at West Brom away, Grant can do that role. It's not great for him, but he can do it. Midfield, Emil Smith-Rowe needs to play because we need the outlet that can break us out.
And I would start after him, Phillips. Who do you think will be matched up with?
It'll be Calvin Phillips. Did Calvin Phillips play the other day?
They did. They had a strange kind of formation there where
they play like a 4-1-4-1, don't they, with Hernandez a little bit advanced. But it'll be Calvin Phillips sat deep with Smith-Rowe, and that'll be an interesting battle.
We've got to be so switched on, but we'll be so up for it though, won't we? I mean, if these two games had gone the other way, imagine if we'd have lost on Saturday, or only got 1 point out of the two. And I know the opposition were out of form and out of touch, but I go there with a lot of heart on Saturday. Maybe naive.
We can go there and do it, but I think a lot depends on how long we can play well and how long we can stay in the game for. Because if we can get to 70 minutes and it's level, then you can throw on your Bakunis, you can throw on your Willocks, and all of a sudden the game's open, it's stretched, and that's what I do. And it's not exciting. It's a little bit negative in some terms, but I think you've just got to, when you play someone who's man for man better than you, and let's not forget, player for player, they're probably not, if you take Marcelo Bielsa and Danny Cowley out of this, I think player for player, they're not that much better than us, but they are incredibly well structured, they're incredibly well drilled, tactically brilliant. They're the best side in this league tactically by a long way.
The last two teams have gone there to contain, from what I've been told, with kind of Leeds fans, Reading and Bristol, and they've come unstuck. They've moaned about a decision. Reading moaned about a penalty they should have got and what have you. But I just don't want to die wondering me. But I know in me,
you've got to be smart. If you go swashbuckling from the first minute, we could be out of it after 10 minutes. That's the only thing, and I think
it's a fair point.
But I would have a modicum of conservatism about us. But by the same token, you can't put 11 men behind the ball for 70 minutes because they'll just crush you a different way. So we have to.
I think that's why Smith-Rowe is so important, because actually you can't just defend. You have to have an outlet, and Steve Mounier in the first game against them was that outlet, because he could win the ball in the air and occupy a couple of defenders. But Mounier was. But Smith-Rowe is able to take a touch. He's able to hold the ball. He's able to bring others in play. So he can be kind of that little buffer zone that takes pressure off us, and it doesn't mean that it's 20-30 minutes of just heading balls out of the box.
It's very key to get people close to him as well. I think that's the other key. It's all right him turning, but if he turns twice, Calvin Phillips will have him, and they press very well. We need to support him when we've got the ball, and that's another worry as well.
If you think of the first game, we had a shocking team out, really, and Karoma was out wide. We had back forward, Dehaney, Schindler, Stankovic and Adesina. And if you remember the game, we missed some big chances. That were the difference.
We could have had a point that game.
Yeah, we could have done. If some boats, but that's why we've just got to be clinical. And I just hope we're disciplined as well. I think, for example, O'Brien, let's hope he don't get an early yellow, because they'll be like baying for blood, etc.
It's the kind of game where you miss Hogg as well, isn't it?
I'm really looking forward to the game, because I just think Huddersfield Town, compared to, mind you, if you'd have spoken us after Swansea, it would have been a bit different. But I just think we've nothing to lose. It's just a free hit for us. We, like you said, they're 10-1 to win the game. No one is going to expect it. Most of the Town fans I've spoken to expecting to lose. I'm quite surprised. I thought maybe the last two games would have perked a few up. Maybe I just know a few miserable fans. But yeah, I'm hopeful, but very aware of
the probability tells me they'll probably beat us 2-1. I think, but we can go there and get something. Yeah. It's like I say, we've just got to play for 90 minutes, and we've not done that this season.
Like say scenario, last 20 minutes we're 0-0 and stuff. They'll think
they'll start.
Yeah, they'll obviously trying to win. It could be a very open game, to be honest with you. But I think we'll be like you say, pragmatic as well. But yeah, bring it on, and yeah, we've sold his allocation, which I wondered at the time whether we would do, but yeah, big time.
£40.25 it cost me for one ticket.
Matt, you're not bitter, are you? Just think Kalibo, are you?
I'd be all right if I didn't. If you could see the whole pitch, but there's pillars and all sorts, and you can't see the whole pitch, and it's just.
It might be a good thing having a pillar behind you.
Might be hugging it after 10 minutes. You never know.
But anyone who's going, drink responsibly and sing your hearts out, because I can't wait. Let's see the proper Town. Give them a game. Come on, Town.
What about you, John? What do you reckon? Scoreline prediction?
I think we're beating 1-0. It's a bold prediction, but I mean, we went to Brentford, who are equally as good a footballing team, and the squad wasn't half of what it is now, and we managed to find a way to win that game in polite terms. And I think we can take advantage of the pressure that goes on Leeds, and as those results that I mentioned earlier do show, it does seem like well to me anyway, Leeds appear to have been drilled to within an inch of their lives. So if you can frustrate them and stop their tried and tested attacking patterns working, then I don't see their players having the individualism to just break down a tough and organised team. So I think Danny Cowley's the man to get us playing organised and tough, and I can see us nicking one on the break and beating them 1-0.
Go on, Brady. You're friends with a couple of chesties. How do you think it's going to go?
I think it's a cliche, whoever gets the first goal. I think this is a really important game for Campbell. I think we're going to be under a lot of pressure, and his experience and him winning those niggly fouls and going down when he gets a little chest, an elbow in the back or whatever, I think that's going to really disrupt them. It's a tricky one, because obviously I want to back Town, but Leeds are good, and they're good at Ellen Road, and they're unbeaten before. But I think, if Bamford's playing and having one of those games where he misses sitters, I think that could really play into our hands. I'm kind of leaning McCausey on this. I feel like it is almost a free hit. Yes, it's Leeds, but I can understand why you play Kachunga. But I think it really depends how the game starts, and how it goes. I think, if it's when we played Fulham, for example, like you say, the game has gone at 3-0 and then we started going for it. And I do think Leeds can be got at, to be fair. But I don't know. You can tell I'm really sitting on the fence for this one. I think, I don't know. I'm going to go draw.
I just think it sends a
if
message.
We score first, they'll probably nick one.
If Kachunga starts,
I think that's a good result when you consider it.
If Kachunga starts, I just think it sends a message on our team sheet at 2:00. For me, they think, okay, he'll work hard, he won't hurt us. Chris Willett might. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be 2-2, but that'll be a great result for us. I think it's going to be a good game. Yeah. Excellent. I'm looking forward to it.
Right, thank you guys for. We'll call it a night. So
hello.
Well, just about to
Is
say.
it just you and me, Brady?
It looks like it, yeah.
All right, there we go. Fantastic.
Ciao, guys.
So thank you very much, guys, for coming on.
That's one way of getting rid of him.
Thank you very much to our sponsors, Magic Rock, and hopefully we'll be back next week.
Are you all right,
celebrating
guys?
a victory.
Hello.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, Who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.